She's in a locked facility. She's in a nursing home. She is our responsibility.
Right now at 6, concern over how an at-risk resident got out of a secure nursing home.
Where's the accountability for that nursing home? To say, hey, we need help. We need the public's help to find this lady.
That call for help didn't come until 2 days later. We take the concerns of staff right to police and nursing home management.
The sooner we know more, the better we can respond. Absolutely.
ShotSpotter detection is a tool to help police.
We think it's essential.
But how effective is it?
For all the alerts that are made, a very few number of arrests are made.
Plus, the city of Denver's attempt to highlight the high life goes up in smoke. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. A series of mistakes and miscommunication have put a 71-year-old with dementia at extreme risk.
Denver police are currently looking for 71-year-old Chung Soon-Yi. She went missing from the Amberwood Court nursing home on Saturday morning. She's still gone. Police didn't notify us of her situation until yesterday.
Well, at least one staff member at the nursing home says they did not do enough to keep their residents safe. Here's Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez.
Those who met Chung Soon-Yi say she was a nice woman who, before arriving to Amberwood Court and Rehabilitation and Care Community in 2017, had been homeless.
She is a very nice lady, older Korean lady. The times that I've interacted with her, it's been because I've provided care for another resident.
Choosing to remain anonymous since she works at Amberwood, this employee feels the nursing home is responsible for Yi's disappearance last Saturday.
It is a locked facility, so there's a code to get in and out. If the resident wanted to go outside, she should have been allowed outside in the back, not out in the front, because then that makes her unsupervised.
The Denver Police Department says the facility reported Yi missing within 30 minutes, and officers immediately conducted a grid search, notified public transportation, and put her name on a nationwide system. But a missing persons alert wasn't issued with the Colorado Bureau of Investigations until Monday, nearly 2 days later. The reason, a lack of information.
As more providers came into work on Monday and saw that she was missing, they had more background information, which they reached out to us and caused us to escalate our response. The care providers who were on scene that day didn't provide that to our officers.
According to Amberwood Court, Yi suffers from dementia and schizoaffective disorder. Still, after assessing her in April, she was deemed low risk, meaning she could be outside and had never wandered away before.
According to staff, they reported that she did like to sit outside, and so that's certainly something that she was capable of doing.
As far as not providing all information to police, the chief clinical officer for the company that runs the facility says staff have access to her files and they always cooperate with police.
It's my understanding that we fully cooperated with the authorities, and so this is the first time hearing of this. I would need to interview the individual that had point of contact with the police department.
Amberwood says Yi was last seen near a bus stop on Jewel and Asbury Circle and is said to have no family in the area.
I've never experienced something like this.
Making the facility's role in keeping her safe even more important to this worker.
You know, that's kind of like where the sad part comes in, like, who is her voice? If they're supposed to, that facility's supposed to be her voice. If they're not, then who is?
Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
If you know anything about Chung Soon-Yi's whereabouts, please call 911 right away.
And let's give you some insight now on when the Colorado Bureau of Investigation steps in. We talked to the chief of staff for CBI, and she says they don't step in until local law enforcement asks.
So we know that these law enforcement agencies know their cities, they know their cases. And so when they're at a point in the investigation that they feel they need to reach out, they certainly do. And then we coordinate with them to use our resources, which is another tool in the toolbox to help them disseminate information about that missing person case.
And CBI says there is no one-size-fits-all model, and it really does vary case to case. They also stand with DPD's decision that it can work against them to send out an alert without having all the information.
Well, Boulder County's become way too accustomed to images like this. A new fire burned today through open space this afternoon, right in the middle of 3 large neighborhoods. This is the view from Air Tracker 7. It shows, look at that, just how closely that fire got to homes. This is near Twin Lakes, west of Gun Barrel. Deputies say charges are pending against a resident in that neighborhood. And this fire caused between $5,000 and $10,000 damage. And that fire burned just a few miles away as Colorado Senator Michael Bennet surveyed neighborhoods destroyed by the Marshall Fire. The debris removal process now is underway in Superior and in Marshall in unincorporated Boulder County. And Brenda Layton lost her home in Superior's Sagamore neighborhood. She says this process will help her decide if she's going to sell her lot.
It's hard to see everything hauled away, but at the same time, this will move us forward to accepting what happened.
The cleanup will likely take 4 months to complete, and cleanup is expected to begin in Louisville next week.
A Fremont County judge has dismissed murder charges against Barry Morphew, who was accused of killing his wife Suzanne back in 2020. Now, there is an asterisk here. The prosecution's motion asked the court to dismiss the charges without prejudice, meaning Morphew can be tried again if prosecutors refile charges. Still, Morphew left the Fremont County Courthouse today smiling with his daughters and attorney by his side. Suzanne's body has never been found. Prosecutors are hoping that melting snow can aid them in finding her body, and they hope that that piece of evidence can help prove their case. Morphew's defense attorney thinks otherwise.
I have not seen an ounce of investigation occur in this case since Mr. Morphew was arrested. And any investigation that has come from the prosecution since he was arrested points in every direction other than to Mr. Morphew.
And we spoke to a legal expert on where this case now goes from here, and he says the prosecution can refile charges whenever they want. There are no statutes of limitation on crimes like first-degree murder.
There's a national effort to end the ShotSpotter detection system used by police departments all over the country. It detects gunshots in a neighborhood and then alerts police. But some community activists think this system wrongly targets underserved communities. Denver 7's Micah Smith is live tonight. Micah, millions of dollars go into these systems.
That's right, Shannon. And Campaign Zero says it's a complete waste of money. That's why the organization recently launched a new campaign called Cancel ShotSpotter in an effort to try to convince cities like Denver to get rid of the technology. But we talked to a member of the Denver Police Department who says this is an important tool that DPD uses regularly. A shooting just yards away from the state capitol building. The Denver Police Department credits a tool called ShotSpotter with alerting officers to the gunfire.
There are sensors that are placed throughout the city in various arrays, and those sensors pick up the percussion of a gunshot.
A few months ago, when several community members spoke out against ShotSpotter, DPD Division Chief Ron Thomas told us his department needs the tool.
85% of these incidents within these arrays we would not otherwise known about. There was not a corresponding 911 call.
We reached out to DPD and asked for the number of times ShotSpotter has alerted police and how many of those alerts ended in an arrest or firearm recovery. In 2021, the system alerted DPD 3,802 times. This led to 96 arrests and 122 firearms recovered.
ShotSpotter has been proven to be a sound collection device, but not necessarily effective in reducing violence.
Kim Morse, member of the Denver Task Force for Reimagining Policing, says the technology isn't worth the $4.7 million price tag.
For all the alerts that are made, a very few number of arrests are made.
Back in January, Denver City Council member Candy Tabaka was the only council member to vote against renewing ShotSpotter's contract.
We have goals to end gun violence and violence in general and keep our communities safe. When we have information that proves definitively that it does not help us meet those goals, then we should not be investing scarce resources into those technologies.
We think it's essential.
Thomas says some of ShotSpotter's criticism is fair and the technology is not perfect. But Thomas says ShotSpotter has saved lives in Denver. Police departments across the country have been criticized for using this technology to target underserved communities. In one case that gained national attention, a Chicago man was wrongfully accused of murder after a ShotSpotter alert. DPD Division Chief Thomas tells me DPD does not solely use ShotSpotter as a cause to make an arrest. Reporting live from DPD headquarters, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
All right, Micah, thank you very much. And this conversation is not just happening here in Denver. San Antonio police stopped using the system in 2017. San Diego City Council delayed a decision on ShotSpotter, their contract last year, and they currently have an advisory board looking into it.
Tomorrow is the annual 420 Festival in Denver Civic Center Park. 50,000 people are expected to come out for the first festival since 2019. And while promoting this year's festival, the city of Denver made a little bit of a blunder. The city posted this message on their Facebook page, and it says it's to fight the stigma surrounding marijuana use and celebrate the booming cannabis industry. Well, many people took that as the city promoting marijuana use in the park, something that is not allowed. So today we asked the city about this post.
This was a big lesson that we learned, myself and my team, and ultimately we're the ones to be accountable for that. So we were really committed to making sure we got it right and really put a halt to the confusion.
The city posted this video in the past 3 hours, and it specifically clarifies the consumption age for marijuana, as well as alerting people it is illegal to consume in public or take marijuana out of state.
Harmful chemicals tainting Colorado waterways, and some people know where they're coming from.
So we knew that for some time Suncor had been doing something to the water.
Coming up now, environmental groups are calling on tougher regulations for the refinery, and we'll look at how they hope to clear the waterways. Mike?
A lot of 80s today across eastern Colorado, but there's a cold front coming in tonight. Parts of the state will see some snow by morning.